Hey guys, Scores is coming to Los Angeles, and you can find the new Scores Los Angeles located in the Score Gentlemen's Club downtown near the Staples Center. Isn't it time for a boys' night out? Time for the Score Gentlemen's Club. Log on to thescoreclub.com.
From Los Angeles, it's the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, God.
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
Thank you for tuning in to the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No, I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. Somehow I feel possessed during this program. This happens every few years. It doesn't even happen every year. It happens every few years. Every once in a while, I decide I want to talk directly to you about something that kind of explains our relationship. I mean, don't you ever wonder why you tune in? You ever wonder why you come here day after day? There are reasons why you come here day after day. There are reasons I keep coming in here day after day. Essentially, as a kid, and I want to talk to everybody out there who feels like the parents don't get them, the people in school don't get them. There came a day when I was a kid that I looked around my life. I saw a lower middle class family that was constantly financially strapped, always broke, always suffering. And yet, even as a young kid, I looked around and I saw what was happening. And I understood. You know, I was good at math when I was a kid. I was one of those annoying kids with a high IQ. And I could see that my dad was working and working and working and just spinning his wheels. My family was poor and it was never going to get any better. And the attitude about being successful or being something more just didn't exist. One day I stood there at age 12 and I said out loud, I said, I'm better than this. This did not make me a popular figure around the household. I believed I was better. At a young age, I decided that I was going to get away from there and become financially successful. And I was going to figure out how to do that. I believed I could do that. I always believed that if you've got anything on the ball, the ability to read and understand stuff, the interest in how things work. What's great about growing up in the United States is this. You can dream your future. You can imagine it. And then become it. And that's exactly what happened to me. At 13, 14, who was I? Nobody. I was less than nobody. I was a kid with a high IQ that other kids didn't like very much because essentially I flaunted my intellect, flaunted my IQ in their faces, and they responded by punching me in the face. A lot. One kid used to try to beat me up every day, and it's not that I didn't fight back. It's just that I had an inviting bullseye on my back. Everybody was looking to respond to my belief that I was better than everybody else. Sorry. Time has proven me right. I had something going for me. That doesn't mean I was the most talented radio guy or the most talented performer or the most talented writer. All it meant was that I knew I could come out of a very poor family in a very poor neighborhood in a lower middle class community where I was the first student in the 13 years of my high school to be accepted by a major university. I knew I could become something great. And many of the things I tell you on this program, I learned as a teenager. I learned early on that your best friends are your biggest nightmare. That presents a dilemma. In life, we have decisions we have to make, and among them, we have to decide if we want to please ourselves or please our friends. Let me give you an example you'll understand immediately, which has very little to do with money or that kind of success, but you'll get where I'm going with this when I give you this example because we've all experienced it. How many people out there have gone on a diet? You want to lose weight, you want to look better, you want to feel better, you'd like to wear nicer clothes, whatever your reason, you want to lose weight, so you go on a diet. And then a friend of yours says, come on, just have a piece of cheesecake. Come on, just one. Come on, we're going out. Let's have a steak. Come on. Let's drink a sixer. Come on. And there comes that moment when you have to decide, am I going to do what's good for me, or am I going to satisfy my friend? The dark underbelly of even your best friends is that the vast majority of them like you for who you are and feel threatened if you're ever going to accomplish any more than they do. Whether it be look better, feel better, make more money, travel more, be more successful. And they will do little things to make you feel guilty about wanting to be somebody. Your family generally consists of the worst offenders. They use the fact that you love them and they love you to try to hold you down. My family was particularly like this. My father was like this. My father told me he'd help me pay for college if only I would stay home. If I went to college far away from home and I had to live somewhere else, he wasn't going to give me a penny. That's what he told me. Years later, when I told that story to a newspaper reporter, he denied it ever happened. But it did. It absolutely did. Your friends want you to stay in the neighborhood. Your family wants you to live close to home. And I do think that maybe not everybody in your family, but there's an awful lot of people who would feel threatened if you became a doctor, an architect, an astronaut. Something, somebody, accomplish something, make money, make a mark on the world, travel, do things, become well known. That is threatening to your friends and family. The difference between people who become very successful and people who don't is that people who become very successful say at one point, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if people stop talking to me. I don't care if people alienate me or make me a pariah. I have something to prove. I'm better than this. Which results in people saying things to people like me like this. You got money. You can afford it. You live out there in California with all your money. You can afford it. This is what I've heard most of my adult life. Well, you're rich and you're out there at the Playboy Mansion with all the celebrities. Yeah, why don't you just go buy yourself whatever you need, okay? You want a family? Buy a family. Buy friends. Yeah, you probably got to pay people to hang out with you. I've heard this my whole life. Because when you succeed at something, you force the people you love to look inside themselves. They have to look in a mirror and say, I didn't have the balls to do what he did. I wasn't willing to make the sacrifices. I wasn't willing to work hard. I was more interested in smoking weed or hanging out with my friends or proving what an adult I was by getting married and cranking out kids at 19 or whatever it was. I did that, and I could have been a contender, as Marlon Brando once said. I could have been a contender. Why is that such a great line? By the way, I see it on billboards all over Los Angeles advertising the upcoming Oscar broadcast. I could have been a contender. From, of course, On the Waterfront, the Marlon Brando film. Because it didn't just relate to that film. How many people could say that line with conviction? I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. Could have been. But you weren't willing to do what it took. And what it took, in the case of me and other people who pursue something great, you have to move away. You have to work with other people having parties. You have to save money instead of spending it. When other people are showing up for birthdays and anniversaries and weddings, you may have to work late. Sometimes you have to live in a crappy apartment. Sometimes you have to go without. In my case, I had to drop out of college because I was broke. But I rolled the dice. Your biggest enemies, your biggest impediments to success are the last people you would suspect. The people who love you. Your friends and family, and they don't even realize they do it. They kill you with kindness. They kill you with love. You can't live out in California. You're going to be so far away from us. Or whatever place you live and whatever thing you decide to do. You're going to go to England and study. You're going to go to France. You can't do that. What are you going to do next year? It's little Johnny's 18th birthday. Where are you going to be? You're not going to be at his birthday party. You have to turn around one day. You have to decide which direction you're going. Are you going to realize all the potential you have inside you? Or are you going to do things just to shut people up so they don't hate you, so they don't reject you, so they don't tell you you're not part of the family or part of the circle of friends anymore? These are the sacrifices successful people make. And I'm not just talking about radio personalities. I'm talking about doctors, authors, attorneys, bankers, inventors, rock stars, whoever. Dreaming is dangerous. Because if you've got a great dream and you decide to do the things you have to do to realize it, the people you love will try to stop you. And they'll do it in such a disarming way because they're going to do it by telling you, don't run away from home, don't leave, you're going to be working all the time, and I'm never going to see you. And if you fall for that, you'll be in the quicksand with everybody else at your high school reunion. That's where you're going to be. I don't go to my high school reunion because I don't want to rub my success in the faces of the various motorcycle mechanics and gas station attendants I went to high school with. I get no pleasure out of that. None. Contrary to what people believe, I don't like to rub my success in anybody's face. I share it with all the people closest to me. I share my success. I share the access I have to good things, whether it be good concert tickets or good restaurants or good anything. Meeting successful people, famous people. I share it with everybody I know. And yet the people closest to me when I was a kid, many of them, they tried to kill me with kindness. At first it was kindness. Some people stayed angry forever. If you are a young person and you ever think this to yourself, you know what, look around me. I'm better than these morons, these yutzes, these losers, this trailer trash. I'm better. You better be prepared for a world of hurt as you try to prove it. And I'm not trying to discourage you from proving it. On the contrary, I'm preparing you by telling you this. The people who love you are the people who will try to stop you. All those people who say, you should have something to fall back on, like an office job or something reliable. You can't do that. I made it in this career the day I decided I wasn't going to have anything to fall back on. The day I decided that I was dedicated to doing this every day of the week. Not going to do it my free time, my part-time, late at night, and then try to get to work at 9 o'clock in the morning. No. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to live without until I make it. That's how I became successful at what I do. That's how you can become successful if you think you're better than the people who surround you. Just remember, if you do succeed, many of those people will never talk to you again. Because it makes them think about what they didn't do. They could have been a contender. And instead they have to watch you on TV, or watch you accepting honorary degrees, or watch you constructing buildings. Watch you flying to other planets or piloting the space shuttle. They have to watch you. And they don't like it. It's not because of you. It's because it reminds them of everything they didn't believe in themselves. Does this make sense?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
My husband told me that as long as I use protection, and I do tell him that I can sleep with anybody I want to.
What time can I come over?
I'm on my way home now. You can meet me there.
Excellent.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. Angie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. This is Angie, first-time caller, new listener.
Cool.
I just wanted to remark on what you were just talking about, becoming successful. And I totally agree with you, and it's amazing that you're talking about this today. For me, my boyfriend, John, he's in law school in Michigan, and I live in Arizona. So when he left, of course, I was all upset with him. I'm like, well, when we were first dating, I told him I'm going to break up with you if you get accepted to law school and you leave the state. But I decided to stay with him and work it out, whatever, so we're together. Well, yesterday he called me and told me that through his school he's able to go to Europe and, get all this experience and stuff. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. I won't be able to talk to you. I'm, crying and all this stuff. And then this whole week I've been, kind of selfish about it, thinking, why did he even ever leave me to go out there? And, why am I staying with him? So, and then my girlfriends, of course, when he left, sat down and talked to me. They're like, Angie, I think it's selfish of him to leave you here. You shouldn't have to stay with him. He's being successful for himself. And I'm like, maybe they're right. So I totally 100% agree that it's the people closest to you and your family and your friends that try to hold you back and hold on to you.
That's why I refer to women, I'm sorry, dear, as dream killers. That is why I tell men not to have a serious relationship or get married until they've achieved their dreams.
But I completely and 100%, like, back him up, and I want him to do whatever he wants
Now
to do.
you back him up.
Right, but it was just...
But not until after you tried to stop him.
No, I was happy he got accepted to law school, and I said I would stay with him and everything like that. But when he said he was going to Europe, I was all upset. I'm like, no. And then now I'm thinking about it because I listened to you, so I'm probably going to call him and tell him he can go.
He should go.
I know.
Whether you like it or not.
I was being selfish.
That's right. And do you really want to be with a guy who didn't get to achieve his dream?
No.
The guy who down the line is passive-aggressive like my father was? My father gave up his dream. Do you know that?
No.
My father, I found this out. I'm going to tell you another story. I'm in a storytelling mood, this program.
Okay.
My father wanted to keep me from getting into radio. And he did everything he could to stop me. And I couldn't figure out why. I did know that when...
He wanted to do something like that?
Well, when he was a kid, he wanted to be a sports writer. And he took the lowest level job he could at a newspaper in New York called the New York Post. He was a copy boy.
Right.
And his hope was to work his way up the ladder and become a sports writer. So for a few years, he did that. And then at 23, he got married to my mother. And at 24, he had his first kid, me. And then at 26 or 27, he had his second kid, my sister. And suddenly, the $40 a week he was making to be a copy boy was not enough. Do you know the minimum wage was once $1 an hour? Did you know that?
No.
So he made $40 a week.
So he had to just quit his job and go elsewhere?
He had to quit his job.
Because of you.
Right, he had to quit his job and he had to go work at the post office. Because the post office not only paid more, but they had overtime, where they paid you time and a half or double time, depending on...
They still do
so he
that.
could make a lot more money at the post office. So essentially, he had to give up his dream to be a sports writer. Well, when I left home to be the youngest student at Fordham University to study broadcasting, and my father would not pay a penny towards that, I went and lived with my grandmother, who was my father's mother. I lived in her apartment for a year until I could afford my own. And where did I stay? In my dad's old room. In fact, the bed in my dad's old room, I think it was made when my father left home in 1955 and was not undone until I moved in and pulled the sheet down. Years later. And my grandmother lived near Fordham University in New York in the Bronx. So I could walk to school.
Right.
One day, I was lying in bed, as college students do. You know, you have some classes in the morning, then you come in, maybe grab a nap, crash for a while, then go back out to some more classes. I was lying in bed one day, and I looked on the floor, stacked next to the bed, was my dad's junk. All his crap. All this stuff that was such crap, he left it there when he moved out of my grandmother and moved in with my mother when he got married. So I started going through all these dusty papers and dusty books that were sitting there. And do you know what I found in that stack of books? You know what I found?
What?
I found a textbook for the Columbia School of Broadcasting.
Which is where you're going?
Well, no, I never went to the Columbia School of Broadcasting, but it was broadcasting. My father apparently took out a GI loan to go to broadcasting school. He apparently wanted to get into broadcasting, and I think it was sportscasting, like doing play-by-play sports on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for whatever reason, probably because he got married and had a family, he had to give up on that dream. And the result was my dad was angry and passive-aggressive, and every time I tried to succeed at something, he tried to stop me. And I believe it's because he lost his dream in the shuffle.
Right, but some people are the opposite. Some parents are the opposite. Like
some are. Some are, but there's a reason. There's a few people who are very successful, and the rest work at the car wash, okay?
But I totally agree with the fact that successful people isolate themselves. Like, they have
to. They have to isolate themselves from people like you, because you, in telling your boyfriend how much you love him,
but
also wanted to tell him you didn't want him going to Europe, you didn't want him going to law school.
Right. Right.
And nothing evil about it. You love him and you're going to miss him. But the reality is, he is going to be in a different position when he's done growing as a person from doing these things.
And he's exactly that person you talk about, though. He's so strong, like, because he went out of state for college, too. He went to Malibu, so he's so used to just getting up and leaving, like, and isolating himself. You know, he's like, I don't need anybody here. Like, I'm not, you know, medically attached to anybody here, you know, like I could physically leave.
Right.
So he is that person. Like, he's so strong to do that. And I am jealous that I'm not strong enough to be that person. Like, I would never want to leave my family.
Do you understand that once he becomes an attorney and once he goes to Europe and sees the world, he's going to be a different person than the person you know?
Right.
And that's, you know what? Instinctually, you know that. And that's why you want...
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, I believe it's the reason the people who love people like your boyfriend try to stop them from doing what they want to do. Because instinctively, they know.
I think it's just selfish.
But it's beyond selfish. You know he's going to grow as a person, and the deep-seated dark thought somewhere in the back of your mind is that as a different person, as a wealthier, more successful, more broadly diversified individual, he might not need you anymore.
Well, I don't think he needs me now, but...
Well, you see what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's why I call women dream killers. But it's not just women, it's also your family and friends.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with women wanting a successful man.
Right, but the trick for men is to first, this is what I try to tell the men, first become successful, then have a girlfriend.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
My husband told me that as long as I use protection, and I do tell him that I can sleep with anybody I want to.
What time can I come over?
I'm on my way home now. You can meet me there.
Excellent.
The Tom Leykis Show.
At 1-800-5800-TOM. Let me read you some of the email that's coming in, because it's coming in fast and furious. Every time we do a show like this, and we don't do them often, we get a ton of emails like this. Let me read you some of these. One listener named Todd Fitzgerald from Phoenix writes in and says, "Hey, Tom, I'm a big fan and very thankful for all of your entertainment and sound advice. I just want to commend you on a job well done with your discussion on success versus your family and friends. I couldn't agree with you more. The fact that success is chosen and not miraculously realized. One of my biggest pet peeves," says Todd, "is the statement, 'you're lucky.' What better way for the lazy and non-ambitious to make light of other people's positive accomplishments? I haven't realized anywhere near the level of success you have yet, but I've already run short of patience for whiny losers telling me how lucky I am for the success I have achieved. Just my 2 cents worth. All told, I guess if the worst of our worries is that losers annoy us with their whining, times are good, eh? Thanks again for everything, Tom. It's Todd." Well, thank you, Todd. You're absolutely right, by the way. That is the most demeaning thing anybody could say to you. Anytime any mention of your success or any realization or manifestation of your success shows up, somebody go, "Well, you're lucky. You know, you're lucky. You got this big house in the hills and you got this radio show. You're lucky. Yeah, you're lucky." I've heard that one 1 billion times. I am not lucky. As I always say, it's not luck. It's by design. That's just the way it is. Sorry. Let yourself off the hook by believing I'm lucky. David writes in and says, "Tom, what a great topic. I had to make some tough decisions regarding my family and social life. But the woman I married showed me that I am better than my family and friends told me I was. I am 27 years old, very successful, making great money with absolutely no interest in those people that tried to hold me down. Thanks, David." Well, thank you, David. Just lots and lots of email, and you can send me your email, your reaction to this at tom@blowmeuptom.com. It's tom@blowmeuptom.com. Laura on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I've been a long-time listener, and it's really interesting. As a female, I love listening to your show for the entertainment, but most of all today, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have given me the feeling that I needed to hear a long time ago, because coming from a Hispanic culture, I'm the only one in the family that has ever graduated from college. And every time I meet a milestone of what I have planned for my life, I feel proud of myself, but I always get brought down by my family, always mentioning to me, now that you got money, you're not going to talk to us, or now that you're doing this, you know, they're always making me feel guilty, and it's really hard because you feel rejected when they do events and they don't want to invite you. And as much as they try to bring me down, I'm always doing things to invite them to, if I'm going on trips or traveling, or if I'm making an investment, I'm always trying to include them. And my husband said, you know what, you got to let it go. First comes you and your immediate family, and if they don't see how you can benefit to them and how much you love them, you just got to let it go, because they're just really upset at themselves because they didn't reach the goal that you did.
Yeah, of course they are. And you remind them of it every time they see some manifestation of your success.
Exactly. And for a long time, it was hard for me because, being Mexican, we do everything together. And every time I made a new step that was, promising, whether it's my career or my marriage, I have planned everything. I have planned from the day that I went to school, from the time I purchased my first property, from the time I got married, from the time I had my first child, and planned my second child 4 years later so that I could afford that they could go to college when they get older. I'm planning my retirement, my portfolio. And every time I talk to them, I don't want to brag about it, I want to help them. I tell them there's so many opportunities here in this country for you to get ahead. It's just don't be lazy. And I work as a social worker.
But you see, they don't see it as being lazy. They see it as they put the family first, and you don't. You ungrateful individual. You're not into the family. You left the family. You abandoned your family.
Exactly. And I just wanted to let you know that I am a social worker who works with a lot of youth who are in foster care. And every time I have meetings with them, preparing them for their transition to adulthood, I tell them, please listen to Tom Leykis. Please make sure if you get a girl pregnant, get a DNA testing. Please make sure you wear a condom every single time. Please make sure, you don't get married until a certain age. And I think even my own kids on my caseload always tell me, I swear, you talk more Tom Leykis than anybody I've ever known.
I love that.
So I just want to let you know, thank you for the service that you do. I know there's a lot of women out there that can't stand you, but I just want to let you know that you have one here in California that totally loves your show and loves the entertainment that I get out of it every day on my ride home.
Thank you, Laura.
Tom. Really? Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
If I'm getting laid, I don't want to know I'm loved. If you love me, I bet you keep that thought to yourself.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Sam on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Doing great, Sam.
Awesome. Listen, I just tried to tell you a little story of mine. I lived with my mom for pretty much all my life. My dad was around, but, she just wanted me to go to college and do the college thing and always stay in school and live at her house and help her around the house and all that. But, it's like she didn't support anything that I really wanted to do.
Now, what do you really want to do, Sam?
Well, I'm already doing what I really want to do.
Which is what?
I'm an electrician. I'm an electrician, lighting designer, and home audio specialist.
Do you own your own business?
I do own my own business. Just started it up, and life has never been greater.
You love it.
I love it. I own already a property. I have my own boat. It's...
You do what you love?
What's that?
You do what you love?
Oh, every day.
And the company makes money?
Oh, definitely. Big time.
Really?
I already have 4 employees, and I'm already backed up 6 months. So people have a 6-month waiting list with my company, and it's just I mean, I couldn't be happier, to tell you the truth.
Good for you.
Everybody in my family, you know, like just what you were saying before. Oh, you abandoning me and da-da-da-da-da. You know, it's like I'm Sicilian, you know, and, you know, family is big. But, you know, it's like, you know, it's like I'm going to help out as much as possible. But, you know, it's like I got to do what I got to do, you know, and I'll help out when I can. But in the meantime, I'm making money, and I'm loving it.
You're doing what you love, and you're making money, and you have, hey, by the way, there's more to it than that. You own your own company. You make your own hours. You probably work more than most people. But if you need to take a day off to go to the DMV or do something else, you can do it.
I can do it, and I'm still making money off the employees that work for me.
That's what free enterprise is all about, Sam.
That's right. You know, and it's like, don't get me wrong, you know, I didn't just, you know, wake up and decide to do this. I mean, I seriously put in a lot of time and effort and really busted my butt. And, you know, it's like more than 8 hours a day. You got to put in at least 10.
That's right.
Sometimes even 12, you know. But, you know, it's like, sure, that day is going to really suck. But you know what? When you wake up, you're like, oh, wow, I just made all that much money. And I'm getting somewhere. And once you get somewhere, you know, you're loving it. And, you know, you just got to stick to it. And, you know, a lot of people will start bringing you down. And then who really gets you, right? Who really doesn't want you to be successful?
You know who doesn't want you to become successful? Your friends, your family, the people who say they love you the most.
The Tom Leykis Show.